I wonder your thoughts on a ceasefire that we were told was imminent at the beginning of this week. Are we moving closer to one, or are things slowing down?
It's really unclear at this moment. I think between Secretary of State Tony Blinken's visit to the region, his words could not be more clear that the choice on the table is for Hamas. Israel has consistently changed and been more flexible in its negotiating positions. Tony Blinken called Israel's position exceedingly generous. And still, as of yesterday, it looked like Hamas was balking. Today, it appears that another Hamas delegation is going to Egypt, who's played a critical role in these negotiations. And again, the point, I think, from all across Washington is that the choice on the table right now is completely on Hamas.
Well, then, Dana, it is worth considering what kind of condition Hamas is in, the kind of strength or weakness they may be approaching these conversations with. We talked about this yesterday with Jane Harman, the chair of the National Defense Strategy Commission. This is what she told us. We'll have you respond.
Hamas is using the hostages for leverage. It's kind of out of gas now. It's lost most of its fighters, and I certainly think it cannot, the militants in Hamas cannot hold any power in Gaza when this moves forward. But I think there probably is some kind of deal that would even make Hamas go away. I don't know what that is yet.
Dana, what do you think that is? What incentive does Hamas have to make a deal or not? Which is greater?
The real challenge here is that what victory is for Israel is really different from what it is for Hamas. All Yahya Sinwar, the leader of Hamas in the tunnels in Gaza, needs to do to declare victory is survive. And he's looking around at the protests here domestically across college campuses, the pressure from President Biden's own party on him, the discussions of conditioning future U.S. military aid to Israel. He's looking at the regional pressure on Israel, the potential charges against Israeli officials from the ICC, and he's probably feeling pretty comfortable. Not to mention the fact that Israel's been very clear that there are 4 remaining battalions of Hamas fighters in Rafah. And the United States has been very clear that they don't support an operation anytime soon without a plan to evacuate the more than 1.2 Palestinian civilians that are still in Rafah. And to date, the administration has said over and over that they have yet to see that plan from Israel. So again, I think Yahya Sinwar is sitting pretty comfortably right now, and there's not enough pressure on him, which is one of the reasons why we saw Prime Minister Netanyahu just yesterday, at the same time that Tony Blinken is talking about the exceptionally generous offer on the table by Israel to release those hostages, that Israel is still going to do that military operation in Rafah.
You mentioned the protests, Dana, at the risk of overstating their significance. To what extent, if any, will they impact the outcome of these talks?
Well, I think a lot of our adversaries and even partners across the Middle East and even in other places outside of the Middle East probably misread what's happening in this country. Yeah. So what President Biden did today, I think, is really important. He said legitimate, peaceful protests are acceptable, but not ones that are espousing violence or calling for the elimination of the state of Israel. And I think that pressure by the Biden administration, either on the humanitarian situation in Gaza or the collateral damage, misunderstands that fundamentally the White House is still strategically aligned with Israel. They still agree that Hamas needs to be militarily dismantled, that Hamas can't govern Gaza in the future, and that Iran is really the center of gravity when it comes to destabilizing activities across the Middle East.
Well, so, Dana, when we heard the president speaking from the White House today, when he was asked the question on his way out whether he was rethinking his policy toward Israel, and he answered with a definitive no, I wonder if that message was for Israel or for those who would wish to do Israel harm.
I think it's for both. And again, I think that either our longstanding partners across the Middle East, those voices of dissent within Israel, and those who are critical here in this country misunderstand that even if the administration and specifically President Biden have criticisms of certain ways in which the Israelis have prosecuted their campaign in Gaza, have concerns about needing to increase humanitarian aid, fundamentally there is agreement that what Hamas did on October 7th can never be repeated again. And the only way for civilians to be safe in Gaza and for Israel to be safe is for Hamas to no longer exist as a governing entity in Gaza, and for that tie where Iran can back and train and equip Hamas to be broken in perpetuity. And there, even Arab partners across the region agree they all want to see Hamas dismantled. They just don't want to see the humanitarian suffering of civilians in Gaza.
It appears the pier that the U.S. military is building off the coast of Gaza will be complete and up and running as soon as this weekend, Dana, and it could impact things in a couple of ways, not only by increasing humanitarian aid, but also potentially changing the dynamic, the image of the U.S. In this particular role. How do you see this changing things on the ground?
It certainly should change the image of the United States, because even today, with criticism across many parts of the world for U.S. support for Israel. And again, we heard President Biden be so unequivocal in his support for Israel today. The United States remains the top humanitarian donor across the board to Gaza and also to the West Bank. That maritime pier is going to facilitate an increase in humanitarian delivery to North Gaza, which by all reports is on the verge of a widespread famine. But that maritime pier cannot replace the land crossings that the United States has pushed the Israelis so hard to continue to open up. And again, we've seen improvement in recent weeks with the government of Israel opening land crossings into Gaza from the north and additional crossings along the side of Gaza. And even Tony Blinken in the region this week talked about the real improvement we've seen in cooperation with Israel, but the need for them to keep it up and do more.